Okay, nerds. It's a show, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm still setting all of this up, so if it looks a little weird, I'm working on it. Either way, we've got quite a lot of things to cover. We have a lot of follow-ups, a lot more teases for Fandome. Honestly, free anime. Who can say no to that? Let's just hit the intro. Okay, so housekeeping. I don't have a whole lot of housekeeping for this episode. It looks like we are starting to gear back up for movie reviews over on the Black Lion channel. So Big Show Entertainment Network will be coming back with, it looks like the New Mutants movie is going to be our first show back. So I was thinking it was going to be Mulan because it was supposed to be Mulan, and then it was supposed to be Mulan again, and then Mulan went to video on demand. So, I don't know. I'll keep you posted, though. Before we jump into the news, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Do all of the things because, you know, that is the way it is. It is a social media world these days. So let's do that, and then we will jump right into the news. Starting first with music news. Music news, if you saw the teaser, then you know we only have one piece in music news. And we're squashing rumors. We have two rumors in this whole episode that we're going to be squashing. So, the first of those two rumors is Matt Skiba and Blink-182 have not parted ways. It does not look like Tom DeLonge will be returning anytime soon, even though apparently he has kind of hinted that he might want to. Which I don't really see that happening, really, but whatever. So Matt Skiba officially, according to Mark Hoppus on his Instagram AMA, really not super informative. We do know they're working on new music, and we know that Matt is finishing up his portion of that new music, so that's exciting if you're a Blink fan. But also, we know that Matt Skiba is officially still the guitar player and vocalist for Blink-182. So, that being said, that's all we've got for music. Now let's talk about the TV and the streaming. Episodic content, I guess, is a little bit more episodic programming, whatever. So first up, as per usual, we're going into follow-ups and corrections. No corrections, thankfully, but I do have a couple of follow-ups. First up in follow-ups is, again, the DC Fandome event happening this coming Saturday. The first update as far as TV streaming is concerned is we have DC and HBO both teasing that we're going to be seeing something from the Green Lantern show. So the HBO Max Green Lantern show seems, this is they haven't explicitly said this, but they're both teasing something to do with the Green Lantern. We know Green Lantern is a series that is going to HBO Max, so it only stands to reason that we will be seeing HBO Max Green Lantern announcement of some kind at the DC Fandome event. The other thing as far as TV streaming goes, and this is just because this is the first place we're really talking about this, is that the schedule is now 100% live, so you can go follow the link down in the notes, and it will take you to the website where you can create your very own schedule so that you can see all of the stuff you want to see. Remember, we talked about it's going to be impossible to see everything, but hopefully people will be, recording it and reposting it after the fact. So, that being said, our other follow-up has to do with Supernatural. We just got the announcement of the final 7 episodes ever. They are finally going up live on the CW starting October, I believe it was the 8th. Yes, October 8th will be the first of the final 7 episodes for Supernatural. Yeah. It's kind of heartbreaking, man. It's the end of an era, if you will. And it's finally coming because they were able to finish shooting those episodes and they were able to finish doing all the things they needed to do for those episodes now that everything is starting to kind of loosen up a little bit as far as quarantine goes. So those are our follow-ups. Let's get into the actual news. And sticking with the Supernatural vibe, kind of, we have a show also brought to us by Eric Kripke, and that is The Boys. And this announcement is also Supernatural related in that Jensen Ackles will be joining The Boys for season 3, not season 2, season 3. So it will be some time yet, probably approximately a year before we see Jensen Ackles in The Boys, but he is going to be joining the cast as Soldier Boy. So if you've read the comic books, then you know what to expect there. But it sounds like they're almost kind of sort of trying to get Padalecki to join up too. That's more rumor than anything, though, and we're not going to talk about in the rumor mill. I just want to throw that in here because it's so fun to see, because potentially we're going to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan come into The Boys, and we definitely are having Jensen Ackles because that's the official announcement. Then if they can get also Jared Padalecki, that would be a really awesome reunion in a completely different Eric Kripke show that I wonder if they would acknowledge at all. Anyway, it's just a lot of fun. That's the only news there, though. Next, we're moving into Star Trek land, and we have Strange New Worlds announcement. This one is a little less like, oh, they're casting so-and-so, or it's more just a kind of what to expect when you're expecting kind of thing. So Star Trek of late has been more broad overarching storylines, and that Discovery each season is one continuous story. And whereas Star Trek of old, all the way up through, like, I didn't really watch Enterprise, but all the way up through Deep Space Nine and even Voyager. Voyager kind of was a little more on the overarching stuff, but definitely not as much as Discovery. Anyway, I'm rambling, and all that is to say that the announcement comes from Alex Kurtzman saying that they're going to make a return to the episodic content. They're going to focus more on the alien race of the week, or the world of the week, or the issue inside the ship of the week. That kind of, it's self-contained per episode. There will be 2-parter episodes. There will be general build of arc over the entire course of the season, but by and large, we will be seeing a return to form for Star Trek, which kind of shows that they've been listening, because this is one of the things, this is more of one of the minor things, but still one of the things that the really hardcore fans have wanted to see in a modern Star Trek show. So here's to hoping that bodes well for this series, because if you want to believe some of the rumors that we've discussed ad nauseum here on the show, it doesn't sound like they're doing all that great behind the scenes, but those are just rumors. We don't know. This is the news, and we're moving on to the next piece. Next, we're talking about AnimeLog. AnimeLog is a brand new YouTube channel, just launched this week, I want to say. I didn't put it in the notes because obviously I take the greatest notes. But AnimeLog is a new YouTube channel. As of right now, as of this recording, it is region restricted to Japan. So if you're connecting through a VPN, tell your VPN to connect through Japan, and you can watch all the anime they offer. But AnimeLog is a YouTube channel that has the license to post movies and series up for free on their channel, and eventually they will roll out to international audiences. Specifically, they mentioned the US and Europe, so we are on their list of things to do. They just have to work on all of the subtitles, which leads me to the next point about this. It's all going to be subs. From the announcement that they are not going to be doing any dubbed work. It is all going to be subbed work. So if you are a dub fan over a sub fan, this probably isn't going to be your bag. But it's pretty exciting because they have over 30 studios that are signing on to distribute content for free through this medium. Some of those studios include the studios responsible for Doraemon, Astro-boy, Hunter x Hunter, Akira, One Piece, and Pokemon. All of these studios have signed on to put something out through AnimeLog. So it's going to, by 2022, they hope to have over 3,000 titles available to stream for free. No exact timeline on when they will be rolling out for international audiences, but it will ideally be before 2022. Probably, I would expect that in the next few months for them to start lifting those region restrictions. So super exciting for anime fans. That rounds out our TV streaming section, though. So next, we are talking about movies, and this episode's movies section sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it's short. It sucks because it's short, not because the information is no good. But, so first up, we are starting with our follow-ups like we do, and we have more DC Fandome follow-ups. So, for this section, the stuff pertaining to movies that we are being teased for DC Fandome, we have James Gunn confirmed that we will be seeing the first footage for Suicide Squad during the Suicide Squad panel, during one of the two Suicide Squad panels, potentially during both, but very, very likely just the one with like the cast and crew and stuff. We absolutely be seeing some new footage that nobody else has seen, the first footage for Suicide Squad during Fandome. And we also have word from James Wan that we will be getting a little bit more of an elaboration, an elucidation, if you will, on the horror elements that we can be expecting from Aquaman 2. So, James Wan being horror director, generally speaking, kind of makes sense. That's all we have for that. We're going to move to our next follow-up, which has to do with The Matrix 4. And we have official word from Lawrence Fishburne himself that he, in fact, will not be returning for this movie. The going rumor, again, this is one that we've talked about previously, but the going rumor is that Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, I believe. I'm sorry. The guy who played Black Manta, I apologize for messing up his name, is going to be playing a younger version of Morpheus, which also implies that there's going to be some weird time travel stuff with this movie. And if that's true, then I feel like it's broken to begin with, but we're not going in with pretenses. We're not going to prejudge this movie. Hopefully it's going to be amazing because I honestly really liked the second and the third Matrix movies as well. So that kind of shows you how much of a fan of that series I am. So, but Lawrence Fishburne is not going to be in this movie. He did say he hopes it's great and he wishes them well. So it doesn't sound like there's really any animosity there. He also did not say that Morpheus will not be in this. Just he will not be in this. So again, that's leading people to believe that there's going to be a younger version and time travel. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey nonsense. Moving into the news, we only have one piece of actual news. And this piece of actual news is shutting down a rumor about Atlantis, the Lost Empire. So the animated Disney movie that kind of gets forgotten a little bit among the more casual Disney viewers, but we've talked about it in the rumor section that they're potentially looking at making a live action version of the Atlantis movie. Again, sometimes even I forget that it's a Disney movie and not like some other animation house. But the co-directors of the original movie, Kirk Weiss and Gary Truesdale, have definitely shot down in a YouTube video, shot down the idea that this is on the list of live action adaptations. I mean, if anybody would know, it would be the original directors. So this is pretty much 100% confirmed not going to happen, at least as of right now. That very well could change, assuming, they start running out of ideas for live action adaptations. But that is all we have for movie news, guys. Now, in gaming and tech, so I kind of have to burn a little bit of time because this has the longest intro. Okay, we're good. And it's the shortest section for the episode. We only have follow-ups for gaming and tech today. Gaming, we have more Fandome stuff going on. So the official reveal of the Suicide Squad game title comes from the DC Fandome schedule, which is kind of a weird thing. So it is officially 100%. The leak was right. The rumor or whatever was right in that it is called Suicide Squad Killing the Justice League. So that is officially the name of the next Rocksteady DC property. That's all we have on that. And then our only other piece is another follow-up, and this also has to do with TikTok. So TikTok is back. Oracle has now thrown their hat into the ring as well, which definitely gives Microsoft a little bit of pause because Oracle potentially could do something crazy that Microsoft doesn't see coming. So now we have 3 people in the running for the purchase of TikTok, or potentially, it sounds like even potentially they could be purchasing ByteDance, but that seems less likely. That's all we have for gaming and tech, guys. Now let's talk comic books and books, and we have a big piece to start off the section that has to do with DC, and DC is canceling books left and right. So as up to this point, the official cancellations are as follows: Batgirl, Batman and the Outsiders, Justice League Odyssey, Teen Titans, Young Justice, Suicide Squad, Hawkman, John Constantine Hellblazer, The Batman's Grave, and Metal Men. To be fair, though, Batman's Grave and Metal Men were set to end in November anyway, so that is not changing. They're just not going to be adding on to anything as far as those 2 books are concerned. Also, Jim Lee has come out and squashed the rumor. So again, squashing rumors all over the place. Jim Lee has come out and said, no, Marvel is not going to be distributing DC Comics. We are still in the business of publishing comic books. We are just shifting our focus to more IP-driven stuff and less specifically to comic books. So that kind of implies that when we get an Aquaman movie, there's going to be an Aquaman run of books. And then when we get a Batman movie, so on and so forth. Very likely, though, because Batman and Superman are the biggest superheroes ever, they will be probably the only 2 or of 2 of the only books that continuously go throughout the year, even if there's not going to be something to correspond to them in the live action arena. So just an interesting situation. We very well could see DC only publishing Batman and Superman books. I hope not. I hope, because there's some good stuff aside from that. I hope the Black Label stuff doesn't suffer for this, but we already saw some of the Black Label editors being chopped when we talked about this in the last episode. So just a lot of unfortunate all over the place. That's all we've got on that piece, so we're moving on. Next is a really quick update on the Ready Player 2, the book that was announced. We talked about it when it was announced. Now we have a new announcement for the book, and that is that Will Wheaton will be voicing the audiobook, much like he did for Ready Player One. So that's just freaking awesome. When we're moving on. Next, we're talking about Dracula. That's right. Bela Lugosi's dead. Undead, undead, undead. Okay, maybe Bela Lugosi isn't quite dead, as it were, because he lives on through his movies and now through a comic book. So this Dracula comic book that is coming out from Legendary Comics is a retelling of the classic story of Dracula, and it has 100% approval from the Lugosi estate to use the likeness of Bela Lugosi for the titular character. It will be on shelves in November. Yes. It will be on shelves in November, so definitely check this one out. Again, Legendary Comics is the publisher, and we're moving on. Undead, undead, undead. Bela Lugosi. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right, so our final piece in comic books is Punchline. Punchline is getting her own book. Well, being as that is another DC character, it's not really a book. It's a one-off, single-issue origin story. So we're going to be diving deeper into the origin of Punchline. This one also will be on shelves in November. Actually, yeah, this one also will be on shelves in November. Yeah, just sounds like very interesting. So the new Bay of the Joker is getting her own book very briefly so that we can understand who she is and why she has aligned with the Joker. Yeah, sure. I'm all for it. I love anything that ties in with the Joker because that's the kind of comic book guy I am. So that is what we have for comic books and books, guys. Now, let's talk rumors. All right, rumors. First, we are talking about Star Wars. I'm not even going to like put this at the end to make you keep guessing what's going on. I got Star Wars coming out the gate, yo. The first one is kind of aligning with some of the rumors we've already talked about, how Disney is trying to, in certain ways, undo at least the second two movies of their sequel trilogy. Seems like universally there's not really negative about Force Awakens, but the second two movies definitely got lambasted, to be quite honest. So this rumor has to do with Kylo Ren. If you will remember, most of the fans were super upset with how that character developed after The Force Awakens. They set him up to be this amazing big bad, and then he's just a pawn with a Darth Vader fetish. So that being said, when he died very unceremoniously and very abruptly at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, it was kind of even bigger thumb in the eye of all of the fans who were like, this guy's going to be the new guy, and then that all happened. So now it sounds like, according to this rumor, that there is going to be some sort of Kylo Ren spinoff, be it as a movie or as a series or even an animated series. All three of those were heard from different sources. From each of the sources. This comes from three different places. So, one source said it's going to be a movie. One source said, no, it's going to be a live-action show on Disney+. And one source said, no, it's going to be an animated show on Disney+. All I know for sure is that Adam Driver is one of the few of the cast of the sequel trilogy who has said he would like to revisit this character, which would make it difficult to do a sequel unless the Skywalker rumor is true and they're going to use I can't even remember the terminology anymore, the multiverse approach, as it were, in which point they could undo those movies entirely, and then we could get a badass Kylo Ren. Or we get prequels. We get stuff that bleeds into those movies. So likelihood that something is going to happen with Kylo Ren, I'm going to put right up at about 40%. I feel like this is pretty strong. Not the strongest rumor we've ever heard, but definitely pretty strong that something like this is definitely in the early development stages. Now, as far as this being a prequel, I feel like that is the most likely decision, because I don't know how likely the whole multiverse thing is going to be. So I'm putting prequel at about 40%, and I'm putting erasure, the undoing of the second two movies, at probably about 15%. I don't think that is super likely. So moving right along, staying in Star Wars though, we have, this one is more towards the series side of things, and the Rebels successor, I think is the terminology they're using anymore, the successor series. There's been two rumors. One rumor said it's not happening. There's no way it could happen because all of the characters that are rumored to be in the Rebels successor series are going to be making their appearances in other arenas of the Star Wars fandom. And then yet another source comes back and says, no, I'm pretty sure this is the way it is because of the people I've talked to over at Lucasfilm. So let's make a little bit of heads or tails of this. We have definitely have seen characters make multiple appearances in multiple formats before. So that being the reason that the show can't happen is already broken from the front. So as far as the Rebels sequel not happening, I'm going to say we're like 10% that it won't happen. As far as it for sure being a thing, considering the source, because this is the same source that said we were going to be getting the Bad Batch series, and then like 2 months later, it was officially announced, hey, we're getting a Bad Batch series. Because that was honestly the first story they broke. And now they're breaking. This is their second big story. I mean, they've kind of chimed in on other things, but as far as actually breaking news, this is the second thing they've done. I'm gonna give this one about a 40% as well, because yeah, man, I mean, Rebels is super popular. Their animation studio is really hitting it out of the park these days as far as the Lucasfilm stuff goes. So why wouldn't they make this a series? It just makes sense, man. So that's what we've got for Star Wars. Next, we are talking about Project Power. Project Power, if you have not seen it over on Netflix, you seriously must. It is much better than anticipated. I cannot suggest it highly enough. There's some flaws. Nothing's perfect, but man, Netflix is really starting to hit their stride when it comes to original movies and stuff. In the action genre, I feel like their horror genre stuff leaves a lot to be desired. Anyway, so we're talking about Project Power, and if you watched it, then you know, and this isn't really spoilery at all, but if you watched it, then you know yourself, and if not, I'm going to tell you, that it definitely leaves it open for sequels. It leaves it open for more entries into this project. So now we, as you would expect, we are getting rumors that yes, that is in fact happening, and that Netflix has actually been looking for a vehicle for a long time to create their own universe, their own movie universe, like DC does, and obviously Marvel is a professional at. So the rumor is that the Project Power movie is going to be that for them, and they have something of a series. This comes from two different sources. One source says that this is going to be a series of movies, so every couple of years we will get another installment of the Project Power movie series, and another source says that this is potentially going to be an actual series. So every year or so we get about 8 to 10 episodes of Project Power. Now, either way you hack it, very likely we won't be seeing the likes of Jamie Foxx outside of maybe a cameo here and there in any forthcoming Project Power installments. Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt probably in that same boat, but that was acknowledged in at least one of the sources. So, as far as likelihood of us getting Project Power movie series, I feel like is slightly more viable, because that's the original format. So I would say seeing this as a movie series, we're looking at probably about a 30% chance that happens. I'm going to say 30 to 40 because this is pretty strong. Netflix does have a lot of money to throw at stuff like this. So yeah, continuing forward, making at least one more. Yeah, we're going to go rephrasing it that way. I'm definitely bumping it up to 40, a solid 40% that this will be happening. As far as turning this into like an episodic series of effectively a TV show, less likely on that one. We're going to probably say about 25% likelihood that is the case, because we haven't seen that happen yet. This is really the biggest reason why. We haven't seen Netflix start something as one format and then change formats on us with the same universe. It very potentially could happen. Remember, we talked about that rumor with Stranger Things a couple episodes ago, where we might be seeing a Stranger Things movie in order to finish out that story. So it could happen. That's why we're up to 25%. We haven't seen it happen, so that's why we're down at 25%. So that's what we have on Project Power. Next, we're moving over to Apex Legends. We're talking video games in this rumor mill. We usually have a video game rumor or so. So this time it comes from data mining information, so it gives it a little bit more credibility. This data mined information has to do with Season 7, potentially, and it looks like we're going to be getting another new map in Apex Legends. This new map is called Tropical Island so far. That very well is just a placeholder name, so because that very likely is a placeholder name, we really don't know much more beyond that. We have just seen that term pop up a number of times in the code that they launched with Season 6. So if we are seeing any sort of new map, we obviously didn't get it with Season 6, so the soonest it can happen is Season 7, which we are still a little ways out from. So likelihood that this is a thing, 50-50. There is a possibility that they're putting stuff in there that is placeholders that we don't understand what is a placeholder for, though it does seem likely, considering the source code, considering where in the code these hints exist. That does seem super likely. So we're looking at about a 50-50 shot that this is actually going to be a thing. I'm super excited about a new Apex Legends map. You don't even know. I love that game. Anyway, moving right along to our final set of rumors, we are now talking about the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, Marvel just registered 2 new production companies. So real quick breakdown of why that's important is because every time a big movie company company makes a movie, they have to create, or they don't have to, but they usually do create like a dummy production company that they have to register with the local authorities or like the local people who are in charge of that kind of thing, so that there's some sort of responsibility structure. So the production, all of that falls under this production company. Even if it's really Disney that's doing everything, that's a legal way of distancing yourself. So if something bad goes wrong, then they sue that company and not Disney. It's that's kind of the basics. So the two new companies that they registered, one is called Grass-Fed Productions, and one is called Solve Everything Productions. So the Solve Everything Productions sounds like that is them gearing up to get ready for Fantastic Four, because in a recent, not that recent, but in a comic book story that deals with the Fantastic Four, idea number 101 is Solve Everything for Reed Richards. And then the rumor goes a little bit further than that to say that there's going to be a partial adaptation of that storyline, because they took that. They took the production company's name from that storyline, that we might be seeing something from that storyline as well, specifically the Council of Reeds. So there in the comic books, there is a, much like Rick and Morty, the Council of Morty. The Council of Mortys. Then there's also a Council of Reeds. Very similar, actually, if you compare the two. One of them obviously is for a joke, and the other one is a little bit more serious, but still very, very similar. So that is the second rumor that we're dealing with, is that is going to be part of the introduction to the Fantastic Four, is the Council of Reeds, and they're dealing with how to repair the damage done from the Avengers Endgame movie when we got the snap, right? So all of this could very well be playing together. It sounds very compelling. Hopefully Marvel is listening. As far as the other production company goes, Grass-Fed, really there's two rumors, two potential outcomes that could be. One could be the Blade movie, which we know is going to happen, and then the other one could be something dealing with the Skrulls, because so Blade, the reason it could be Blade is because the vampires in that series refer to humans as cattle. And the reason it could be the Skrulls is because when the Skrulls get found out, they hide. They turn into cows to hide from being found out. So both of those are potential. I feel like the more likely version of that is Blade, is the Grass-Fed Productions. So as far as likelihood that all of this stuff is happening, we're going to break that down a little bit. Likelihood that Fantastic Four is moving into early production. It's a very compelling argument for it, but because we know a couple of things about Feige, I don't know, I feel like we're going 30% here just because I don't feel confident going up to 50%, even though that Solve Everything is a very compelling statement. So 30% as far as Fantastic Four movie at all. And then as far as the tie-in to the comic books, I'm going to say 10% likelihood that that's a thing. Just because we get a little bit of text from a comic book doesn't mean we're going to get any of the story from that comic book. It's just a nice reference. So 10% likelihood that we're going to see the Council of Reeds. As far as Grass-Fed Productions being, my vote is that it's Blade. So as far as that being a thing, we know that Blade movie is getting made, and we know it should be happening relatively soon. So, yeah, this is going to be, we're 50-50 on the Grass-Fed Productions, because that makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's the Skrulls at all. I think that's a 0% chance that the Grass-Fed Productions is the Skrulls. So, that is our rumors section. And that is our episode. What did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. Or if you want to support, there is a Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy. Just $1 a month, and you get quite a bit, actually. So go check it out. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. It's a lot of stuff, right? If there's something I forgot, then let's have the conversation down in the comment section. If you're falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, then right about now you should be seeing 2 boxes below my face. Definitely click or tap one of those to see other stuff going on the channel. You can see the older episodes of Nerd News so you can keep up, or you can see everything else. Those are the two playlists that I linked down below. Right about in the center, there is a subscribe button. Please do that if you haven't already. Thank you very much, nerds. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.